It's been 6 months since my last Streamlit news and release notes video, and so many things happened. Hello data fans, we have a lot to catch up today, features in 1.22 to 27, third-party components, integrations with other platforms, community news, the list is huge. So if you didn't closely follow Streamlit recently, let's rapid fire through them. Streamlit has released its own chat widget. You can display a chatbot message history in a Streamlit app with st.chat message and use the chat input method to get a sticky user input at the bottom of the app that you can then send to an LLM and store the answer in the history. Building a chatbot over our business valuable data is the new hello world of AI. So Snowflake, who owns Streamlit by the way and stores a lot of valuable data for businesses, has made it clear it is going to leverage the LLM revolution. I mean, there is a dedicated gallery of Streamlit LLM apps on the official website. So I think we can expect further improvements to the Streamlit chat elements very soon. For example, maybe streaming write capabilities in the chat or custom integration of Langchain. As a data expert, I hope you have an LLM chat over documents ready in your portfolio. Speaking of connecting to business documents, you need to try Streamlit-connection to connect to different data sources. Streamlit-connection is a wrapper that provides a client for interacting with various databases or APIs based on the connection type you load. I know you. You all can connect to a Postgres database, store the connection in a cached resource with a time to live, and obtain credentials from a secrets file. But if you're unsure how to replicate this with Supabase, Firebase, Weaviate, Pinecone, Hugging Face files, SharePoint, oh my, I would love a Streamlit connection to SharePoint, that would be cool. You will be happy to reuse existing Streamlit connections that other experts implemented and optimized for those data sources. There's even a new connections page on the Streamlit website with a library of such pre-built connections. Try them out, fork some of them if you want to customize them, and contribute connections to new data sources like SharePoint. Seriously imagine extracting financial data from an Excel file in a SharePoint folder, and then you fix the sales for the December row from your Streamlit app and save it back to SharePoint. That's when the new data editor comes in handy. The Streamlit data editor displays a data frame where cells or rows are made editable to the user, and it returns the changed data frame to your Python code or any changed cells through session states. There's a lot more to the editor, like customizing how each column looks like to bulk edits and input validation. Building Streamlit tabular dashboards is not dead in the face of LLM chatbots. So if you're looking to replace small Excel computations with a Python data web app, this is a native implementation you should check out. And for more advanced styling, aggregation, or graphing capabilities, you can look into third-party components like Streamlit AG Grid or Mito, I don't know. Those are heavy new additions. But there are other few widgets that make for new Streamlit experiences. If you're using a checkbox to toggle state in your app, there's a new toggle method, which is an alternative display of a checkbox. I think it makes it a bit more obvious that it's an on and off switch, where the checkbox has, this to-do list vibe. Send a toast to your user. With the st.toast method, you can display and stack notifications in the bottom right corner of the screen. And if you are fast enough, you can even update the label of the toast instead of stacking a pile of messages. I would use this to notify the user of the end of a long-running process, like a file download or toast being grilled. To display the progress of a multi-step long-running process, you can also use the st.status method. It's like a fusion between an expander and a spinner. The state of a process is written on the expander label. Every step of the process is detailed inside the expander, and when the process has finished, it sets a done checkmark in the label to notify you. You can still send a toast at the end for double notification, and you can even send balloons for triple notification, but at this point I think we're just designing bad user experiences. If markdown external elements doesn't seem appealing enough to be clicked, try the link button method. It creates a button that draws way more attention and redirects you to an external web page when you click on it. And Streamlit app is more fun with colors, and now the line chart, area chart, bar chart, and scatter chart accept a new color keyword argument. Pass an array of hexadecimal strings or an RGBA tuples to colorize every visual marks. Wait. I may have spoiled the scatter chart for you. It's a new high-level method similar to the line area bar charts to quickly build a scatter plot for a long or a wide data frame. The color and size keyword argument can even accept a column name as input, which will fetch the color and size information directly at row level in the data frame. This is not the only plot to benefit from an improved scatter plot, because STMap also gets the lift up, or facelift, I don't know how you say this. In the previous versions, you had to hardcode the latitude and longitude column names in the input data frame. But with the revamped map, you can now customize the latitude and longitude column yourself. And the map scatterplot also gets the color and size treatment, where the information can be stored in the data frame in each row. More colorful updates, markdown text, titles, headers, and most widget labels can display colored text by prefixing it with a color from a specific set of rainbow colors. Titles and headers also get a new color divider argument, making it easier to differentiate the sections of an app. You know, when you're in a chatbot and you click enter or return in a chat input field, the input is submitted to the Streamlit app just like for a normal form. Well, this behavior has been transferred to Streamlit forms. When you are focused on a text input, number input, or text area in a form, press enter to submit the form. ST Experimental Rerun was added in version 0.69 and is perfect for advanced Streamlit use cases, like when you need to rerun an app on each micro batch of new data for a pseudo real-time app. Now 3 years later, it is finally out of experimental. Congratulations for the promotion! Most input widgets like select box or radio now accept none as initial input to represent an empty default state. This way you get a select box or radio without any pre-selected option. Now let's dig deeper into the radio. You can add captions under each option. They act like mini help descriptions for your items. The multi-select widget gets a max selection limits argument, so you can't select a million items anymore. And a placeholder information can also be displayed when no item is selected. Okay, wait. Up. The download button doesn't open a new tab anymore. You already have way too many tabs in your browser. Streamlit logs go through their own Streamlit namespace logger, instead of being mixed with every other message inside the root logger. Now this doesn't mean that Streamlit logs go through the usual Python logging cycle, because Streamlit is using a separate logging mechanism. You cannot configure Streamlit logging verbosity outside of the Streamlit configuration file. Don't try to configure logging from code, it still won't work the intended way. Caching in Streamlit has new configuration features. The TTL argument in cache data and cache resource accepts string formatted times like 30 days or 1 hour and 30, or anything using the pandas time delta constructor. But the real deal here is hash funcs is back. This may induce terrible nightmares for the Streamliters who remember hash funcs from the old days. Okay, let me try to summarize its usage. When you are adding cache data or cache resource to a function, Streamlit's inbuilt cache mechanism maintains a key value dictionary, with the function's arguments as key and the function's results as value. Now, to build a key, Streamlit hashes every argument and object it finds in its body. So if any argument or variable in the function body changes, the cache will point to a different key and value. Streamlit developers have put a lot of thought in hashing a large number of Python objects, but you know, sometimes Streamlit just doesn't know how to hash complex third-party objects like Pydantic models, or the cache takes too much time hashing objects that have a lot of nested elements like matplotlib figures. Using the hash funcs argument, you can provide your own dictionary of Python type to hashing class for custom optimized cache key hashing. Finally, updates to the hamburger menu. Though it doesn't look like a hamburger anymore now that it is 3 vertical dots, I think now its official name is toolbar instead of hamburger menu, and that's important to note because there is a new client toolbar mode configuration to show or hide developer options in the toolbar, or entirely hide the toolbar if no menu items are set through the setPageConfig method. Also, a new deploy button appears next to the toolbar if you are developing locally. You're just one click away from showing your app to the entire world. Okay. Well, I was planning to do this with other libraries like Hugging Face or Pandas, but now I'm having second thoughts. Let me know in the comments if it's worth breaking myself down for those breakdowns. Anyway, sure, Streamlit has gathered more than 50k GitHub stars, but the number of GitHub stars is not always a good measure of success for a library. I was reading the Crossing the Chasm book recently. It's a marketing book for companies that are trying to bridge from early tech adopters to the early mainstream pragmatic buyers. And because you're selling to pragmatic people, there's this notion of building the whole product experience, which comes from, first, multiple strong collaboration and integrations with other services to cover more ground. Second, a growing community which brings a momentum of referrals and contributions. And third, clear differentiated messaging like quickly build your data science web apps or build this chatbot in just 39 lines of code. You just know that's Streamlit's value proposition. Now I'm personally waiting for an official Streamlit Gumroad integration to cover app monetization or Streamlit Auth-O to manage authentication. But in any case, here are a few examples of community contributions and platform integrations that grew the Streamlit ecosystem in the last 6 months. Starting with third-party components. There is a community-maintained wiki tracker on the Streamlit forums, and most developers also promote their new plugins either in the component sections of the forum or the Discord room. Yes, there is an official Streamlit Discord, and no, it's not only young gamers in there. Now, you can find highlighted components in the official documentation. For example, my eCharts component appears in the plotting widget chapter. I need to update this component one day. And there is a dedicated page on the official website to browse noteworthy components. I mean, do you want your name to appear on the Streamlit website? Building a great component is the easiest way to go. The Mito library, or Mito library, I don't know, has released a new Streamlit integration. With Mito, or Mito, you're able to display and interact with a data frame in an Excel-like spreadsheet, and every computation is translated into Pandas code. Now it is available in Streamlit, and it acts as a nice replacement to the native data editor if you need built-in sorting, pivot tables, and embedded plotly graphing. There are many new components developed in secret by the Streamlit team in the Streamlit Extras library. But those won't be a secret anymore if you subscribe to my channel. Just to name a few, they added grid layout, stylable container that applies custom CSS on a widget, and an embedded STLite sandbox to run your untrusted Python code in the browser. We wish all those alpha experimental features the best of luck to make their way into the Streamlit library. I was talking about integrating with Gumroad or Stripe for monetization, but in the meantime, Tyler Richards, a data scientist from the Streamlit team, remember his name, it will pop up again soon, has released st paywall, a component that adds an authentication window that only members with a paid subscription to Stripe or Buy Me a Coffee can pass. Money, money, money. Right now the money is in the exploding market of LLMs. If you're building chatbots because that's the current moneymaker trend, you shouldn't miss on Truebricks components. With this component, you are able to collect user feedback on your generated responses with a thumbs up or a thumbs down button and store them in the Truebricks cloud for later analysis. There's so many more Streamlit components. We exploded the default length limit of the community wiki. But if you don't like browsing the forum for bits of code snippets, or maybe you're an old school like me who just prefer reading tutorials on paper, well, Tyler Richards will release the second version of the Getting Started with Streamlit for Data Science very soon. Like, it should already be out right now, but it has a little bit of delay. I have 2 copies of the first version, by the way. Anyone wants one? Should I sign it and do a giveaway? I don't know. Maybe it'll be a collector item in 10 years. More Streamlit books are hitting the shelves soon. Web application development with Streamlit has been authored by the developers of Streamlit Authenticator. There will be a big Streamlit chapter in the cheminformatics, QSAR, and machine learning applications for novel drug development, written by the big names in Streamlit research community. Actually, I wanted to mention one more book, but I'm not sure there is Streamlit in this book. But he's a prominent Streamlit geospatial expert, so I'll shout out this book for free. Check out Earth Engine and GMAP, Geospatial Data Science with Python by Qiu-Cheng Wu. I'm so sorry if I've mispronounced your name. This is tiring. Almost all of those authors are part of the Streamlit Creators Program, a VIP suite of Streamliters selected every 3 to 4 months that make big contributions to the community. That's how I got this mug, by being part of this program. There are other lighter ways to contribute to Streamlit. You can become a Streamlit advocate by regularly producing content, a student ambassador, which is basically being a student Streamlit advocate, and you get to network with other students from around the world and add new experiences to your resume, or a Streamlit moderator to help maintain the forum and Discord server. The Streamlit community keeps growing, but enterprise partnerships are also an important part of the equation. Streamlit being part of Snowflake means it will benefit from the large number of partners it has, like Nvidia, Dataiku, or Pinecone. Oh, also, Streamlit is now in public preview in Snowflake. You can use Streamlit to build dashboards and chatbots over Snowflake data, take advantage of the Snowpark distributed data frame and machine learning capabilities for high-performance manipulation, and sell those apps on the Snowflake marketplace for money. Though, to be honest, I'm not a Snowflake user and nobody sponsored this video, so you'll need to attest this by yourself. Streamlit has some partner collaboration on its own. The Streamlit recent LLM hackathon was made in collaboration with multiple names like AssemblyAI for audio transcription, Langchain and Llama Index for chatbot orchestration, Eveything for vector database, and Clarifai for GenAI in the cloud. All of those gave birth to a specific Streamlit tutorial integration. And some have gone even deeper, like there are Langchain agent callbacks being built purely for Streamlit, and Langchain memory and messages primitives will soon integrate with Streamlit session state and chat elements. Or Clarifai as the concept of UI modules, which are reusable web apps on top of the services API. Those web apps are basically Streamlit modules that you can share with other people. It's almost like a Streamlit GenAI marketplace. And marketplace means money. And let's not forget about other integrations. Recently, Streamlit Community Cloud has added a new Create New App with GitHub code spaces. By clicking on it, you will deploy a new app which you can live edit from a code spaces. I don't need Python on my laptop anymore, let's just code everything in the cloud. If you are Notion, Medium, or any blogging platform which accepts HTML user, Streamlit Cloud supports OEmbed. That means you can copy-paste a Streamlit Cloud URL with the embed equals true query parameter to embed the app inside a page. Now you can embed the blog post in your Streamlit app, or you can embed the Streamlit app in your blog post. The choice is yours. Shall we? I'm sure I missed some stuff, but catching up on 6 months of news was really tiring, so I'll end it here. Watch this Streamlit tutorial next if you want to go back into the Streamlit groove. I'll see you around. Bye!